What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ryan and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to actually fatten up your snare drum using EQ inside of your mix. So let's jump into it. Okay guys, so here we are in Logic Pro X and we're going to show you guys how to actually fatten up a snare drum. So here we are in Logic and we have our snare track right here. And the first thing we're going to do is grab an EQ. Now, if you didn't see my last video the other day on how to actually get snap out of your snare drum, I'll leave the link in the description down below, so go check that video out too. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our EQ right here. And we're going to use the same EQ, the channel EQ, inside of Logic. So the first thing we have to do is use a high pass filter to actually clean up the low end so that we can allow the kick drum and the bass guitar to sit down there. Okay? So here's what we're going to do is use a high pass filter. We're going to play the track and I'll show you how to do that. Here we go. Okay, so I brought the high pass filter all the way up to 78 Hertz. Now, I didn't want to bring it up to 100 because there's another frequency in the 100 Hertz range that we're going to actually take care of too. So what I'm going to do now is bypass this high pass filter and then bring it back in so you can hear a difference what it's doing. Okay, so you can't really tell a difference that much, but pretty much what it's doing is it's just cleaning up that bottom end to make room for the kick drum and bass guitar in the mix. So let's move on to the second frequency now. Okay, so the next frequency we're going to take care of is the boxiness in a snare drum. Now the boxiness in a snare drum can lie around 120 Hertz. Now, sometimes you can find it in the snare drum, sometimes you can't. And the reason why you can't sometimes is because it all depends on what kind of snare drum, because there's all kinds of different snare drums out there, and there's all kinds of different tones. So what we're going to do is search around 120 Hertz to see if we can find a boxiness. So let's Okay, so I didn't find any boxiness around 120 Hertz. The thing about EQ is sometimes you don't find anything. Sometimes you boost a frequency expecting to find something bad, and then it ends up you don't find anything. And that's actually a good thing, because the less EQ you do in your mix, the better actually. Because you don't want to cut out frequencies that you don't need to be. Okay? Okay guys, so the next frequency is I'm going to show you guys how to actually fatten up the snare drum with the EQ, because that is all about what this video is about. So what we're going to do is to fatten up the snare drum. It is around 200 to 350 hertz, around that range. So we're going to boost the band on the channel EQ to actually find the frequency where the fatness of the snare drum lies. So let's do it. Okay, so I found the fatness of the snare drum. It is lying around 230 hertz, 230. Now, right around that frequency, it sounds fatter, it sounds fuller, it's not as thin, not as crisp, not as just muddy. It sounds great. And that's what I'm actually looking for. Now, on the other video I did, I showed you guys how to actually get the snap out of the snare drum. This one, what I'm doing is I'm showing you guys how to fatten up the snare drum. So, right around this frequency, what we're going to do is we're going to take this band, and what we're going to do is bring it down to about 3 dB and then even it out. So, check it out. Okay, so there we go. Now it sounds a lot fatter, a lot fuller in the mix. So it sounds the way we want it to sound. So now what we're going to do is move on to the next frequency. Here we go. Okay guys, so now what I want is I want some clarity inside of the mix of the snare drum. So what we're going to do is search around 3 to 5 kilohertz. Now up there in that high range is where the clarity lies for a snare drum. So we're going to search around there and find the frequency that makes the snare drum a lot more clear and gives it clarity. So let's check it out. Okay, so right there, we boosted it about 39.40 thousand hertz. That is the frequency I found where the snare drums has a lot more clarity. So what we're going to do now is just bring it down to about 3 dB. Okay, and that sounds great. Now, I like working in 3 to 6 dB chunks because it's a great range to not have so much volume inside of the EQ. It's just the right amount of volume. Okay guys, so I gave you 3 EQ moves to fatten up a snare drum inside of Logic in your mix. I hope these EQ moves helped you guys out a lot. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed this video today, and if it helped you out, leave a comment down below and let me know how it worked for you guys. So make sure you use a high pass filter, you search around the 200 Hertz range, and you also get that clarity on a snare drum. Because getting the clarity on the snare drum helps the fatness pop through the mix more. Because we all want mixes that are nice and clear, that are fat, that are full, and that sound great. Any questions that you guys have, leave them in the comments below. I always write you guys back, and I hope you enjoyed this today, and I hope you learned a lot. Alright guys, if there is any videos you guys want me to make, leave them in the comments down below. I read all your guys' comments. I will literally make any kind of video about recording and mixing, whatever you guys want to see. So leave comments down below. I'll always write back to you guys. And if there's anything you want to see, I'll make sure I make it. And if you guys haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, make it turn gray, turn on post notifications so that you guys are notified whenever I post a new video on Golden Productions. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for all the support. I hope you learned a lot about using EQ inside your mix to fatten up your snare drum. Keep making great music. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys then.